Hello everybody, Fuzzy Snugs here from Plox Rage Gaming, and yeah, I want to bring another video, guys, before I go to sleep. I haven't uploaded anything in a while, so yeah, here we go. Basically, what we're gonna do here is, this video here is to show how Protoss can utilize force fields when defending a fast expansion, and going for, you know, the 2-gate fast expand, and then going against a Terran player going for that really heavy early aggressive Marine Marauder push with stim pack and combat and and concussive shell to cut the zealots. Now this game is against how do you do the thingy? There you go. This is a game between me, Fuzzy Snugs, as the blue Protoss player, and then a Terran player named Damage Live. And this is on the this is on the Gold League, high tier Gold League. And basically what Damage Live is going to do is, when he scouts me, he sees I'm going for 2-gate, probably a fast, he doesn't see the fast expansion, but he sees I'm going for a 2-gate, and that must mean I'm either teching up quickly or I'm getting for a fast expansion. Now as you can see here, I'm just going to speed things up here a little. This standard build order from until things get interesting. Basically, as you can see here, what Damage Live did was he did the standard Terran opening, 10 depot, 10 depot, 12 barracks, 13 refinery, and then with me, I did the standard opening, 9, actually, you know what? I think it might be a little too loud. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn this down a little. There you go. And what I said, I went for a standard opening, the 9 pylon, 12 gateway, 13 assimilator. Followed that up with a 16 cybernetics core and a pylon at 16 as well. As you can see, he's dropping down 2 additional barracks, attaching them with tech labs. I believe a reactor is going to come up pretty soon. And he only stayed on 1 refinery because he's going for that super aggressive push. And you see, you can got stim pack and combat shield, and surprisingly no reactors. As you can see here, as he was getting those up, I got my expansion, and I had 2 sentries, and I also dropped a robo so I can get an immortal and some observers. Now, going back to normal speed here, normal game speed, I'm going to pause it really quickly. With a new patch being released, with the warp gates being nerfed a little so that the time is going down, you're going to want to stock up on sentries. These guys right here will save your life as a Protoss player going for a fast expansion. Now, with that being said, since they nerfed the warp gates, they decreased the time for getting sentries. So sentries are a must-have. And this Bob right here is checking out the crystal on the top because it looks nice. But as you can see here, going for that fast expansion, if you want to look at the units tab, I'm pretty much even right now. We're pretty much even, with him calling in the mule, 22 SCVs, and I have 25 probes spread out amongst these 2 expansions. As I saturate these expansions, I'm going to be way ahead of him because I'm going to be on 2-base play. I'm going to have small defenses that will help me out later in the game, or early in the game, excuse me, and as he's pushing in for that, he's going to use all his minerals right here to pump out units for that super aggressive push, while only these right here will save my life with a cannon or 2 right here with the forge that I dropped down. These few units will simply save my life, and he will be way far behind. I'll be ahead of him by a lot. We'll check later in the game after the few pushes where I have a way bigger worker count than he does, and right now he's at bigger food than me because he has a bigger army, obviously. So let's continue this really quickly. It's very important to scout your opponent's base and take, when going for a fast expansion on these particular positions, it's important to take Xel'Naga towers to see when pushes are coming, and coming out with an observer to see what your opponent's doing, what's going on in his base. And right now, just waiting to get more, at least a stalker or 2 to fend off ranged against these guys, and getting a cannon in place. And as you can see in the production tab, I'm just macroing up, making workers, supply block right now, but making workers, and right here, you see the push coming, right? So, as you can see here, well, as soon as they get into place, let's pause right now. As you can see here, in the units tab, the units tab, he has 7 Marauders, and 14 Marines with combat shield and stim pack. And these guys have no concussive shell, just stim pack, and Marines have combat shield. Now, with this big enough army, that 21 food army, against 4 sentries, a stalker, and a zealot, and 2 cannons. Now, with the worker count, as you can see, I'm starting to get ahead of him. I'm way ahead of him by about 7. I'm ahead of him by 7. And 7 is a lot. 7 would be, with each worker getting 5 minerals per patch. Every time they go back and forth, you're getting an extra 35 minerals. That 35 minerals can be used to make an observer. It can be used, if multiplied over time, getting gas. It can be used to get, say, what? Upgrades, or another sentry, or another stalker. In fact, if you have the minerals, you can get another stalker to help out with the push. Now, with that being said, let's see how this battle takes out, and with the micro force fields and how you need them to stay alive, and how this push is going to be really ineffective for him. You're going to see right here, just 3 stalkers and 4 sentries. You're going to see what happens when the Terran player tries to go and just force field him away. Like, don't let him get near you. Just force field him away, cut his forces in half, and pick off what gets away, or what gets what turns out to be stragglers from the force fields and from their actual army. Now he's right here. I'm trying to get out an immortal to deal with these marauders, because they're gonna mash my guys to bits, and that's what I'm focusing on force fielding, is the marauders. The Marines I can take care of, but as you can see here, force fielding them to get on this side and that side, then pulling back, and Bob dies, unfortunately. And I'm just trying to warp in more sentries. As you can see here, his units are not working out too well for him. As you can see, nothing is getting through. These 2 Marines get through, but I surround them with my probes, and that's okay. As you can see, the sentries did their work. These marauders are not getting in. As you can see, they tried to get in, and they tried to take out my stuff, and then I pulled back. But you see, this was a blunder by him. He could have moved in and did massive damage, but this immortal would have came out. As you can see here, warping in another sentry, just delaying enough just to get that immortal out, distract him a bit, pull him back, and then pull these guys in, finish off the job, and pull the immortal back in to help out. Now as you can see here, by the end of that push, he's back here macroing up his units, didn't take too much, didn't expand, he's at 25 workers, and I'm at 23 workers spread out across these 2 expansions. Now keep in mind, now that I had 2 nexuses to begin with, so like I said before, I can easily get these 2 nexuses to create 2 probes at once. That's going to be a lot. And keep in mind, I have forces that can easily defend against another push, and I'm going to be warping in a few more sentries to deal with this. Now, excuse me. Now, when trying to macro up and do everything safely, it's important to scout everything that your opponent is doing. As you can see, he's trying to get more aggressive, trying to make his pushes work even better, staying for a bio ball, dropping down 2 more barracks and an expansion. And he's dropping on a Hellion because, I don't know, I probably to deal with trying to kill the workers using, I don't know. But as you can see here, dropping down 2 additional gateways to get sentries out better, and I should be saturating this gas pretty soon. And there you go. And as you can see, still ahead of him in worker count, just constantly making workers throughout the game. And occasionally I will slip up on my macro a bit, but as you can see, still getting immortals, still getting sentries and stalkers to fend off another push. I think I dropped down a cannon or 2 here. We're both supply blocked, unfortunately. That's pretty much it. I mean, you just have to keep macroing up and focusing on everything as you can. And he decided, after he saw that expansion, he knew he was going to be behind. So as you can see, he responded, dropped his own expansion himself, building a command center in his base to fly it out in. As you can see here, he's pushing out again to make his expansion work as a feigned attack. And still, I see that push coming. I see it coming again, especially with the Zelnaga towers also. And as he pushes out, he's going to land that expansion to try to get an advantage over me by killing my workers. As you can see here, 2 sentries, 2 immortals, and 3 stalkers, 2 additional cannons coming out, and I should be warping in something. I know I warped in something. There you go. 4 stalkers coming out to deal with the Hellions. Now, as you can see here, with this push right here, whatever I'm doing, pause. As you can see here, he has, what? he has where's the what's the thing? Oh, you. Here he has 19 Marines, 11 Marauders. That's a 32 food army. 32 food army against what I have. And I have 33 workers over his 28 workers. How is this going to feign out? Well, if he doesn't micro his stuff really well, getting around these cannons, he would have probably did some... He's not going to do much damage, but what he could have done is move his Hellions, or what I would do actually, was move my Hellion back here and try to sneak in here and roast as many as I can to draw off the army away from it and move my army into the main, take out additional buildings, or crucial buildings to what I'm doing, and I'm supply blocked again. So let's see how this battle plays out. Moving him with his army, he's trying to take out this pylon here, and I force field him to kind of cut off his army a bit. As you can see, the Immortals are just going to town here, killing everything they can. And occasionally, I think I might lose an Immortal here. Yeah, I lose one. I'm just trying to bait him back to the cannons, but see, this push did not work. This push did not work whatsoever. It did not work. As you can see here, force fields will just completely dominate a Terran Bio Ball because it will split everything up and cut them into pieces. Now, pause for that a moment. He had a 32 food army, which is now, what? A 12 food army, including the tank that came out right here. Well, there's more right here. More units right here. But it came out to, what? A 3 unit army. And then it came out to be, what? Me having still 33 workers over his 28, and still having decent forces and cannons to deal with any early aggression. It's important to keep up with what you're doing as a Protoss player and scout and see what is coming towards you and what your opponent is going for. If he's going for a fast expansion and you don't want him to, don't go. If you want to, don't expand. Go for a super aggressive 4-gate push or a 5-gate to try and knock him off his feet and probably win the game, or expand yourself and try to play a macro game with him, which is what I did in this game. So, well, I expanded first and he went for the early aggression, so technically he tried to knock me off my feet, but failed miserably. So anyway, we got Bob, Steve, Ryan, Chris, and the twins. Yeah, let's call them that. And I'm getting my second gas to tech up for, I believe, I'm going to get a robotics facility, robotics bay pretty soon. So yeah, I mean, it's just constantly making units. I made 3 more sentries to deal with another push just in case he comes back, and it's just about it. I mean, scouting your opponent is extremely important. I can't stress that enough. As you can see here, he got his expansion fully saturated. He's now about even with me, 35 workers to 30 SCVs, or 35 probes, excuse me, to 30 SCVs, 2 mules. And I see that with my observer. I saw with my observer, I see everything he's doing. He has a very powerful army and everything. Now, following up with this, you're gonna want, following up for a standard Terran. Well, excuse me, following up for a standard Terran... why do I keep saying... Following up for a standard Protoss build against Terran, you're going to need Colossi. Especially if he's going for a bio ball like this, you're going to need Colossi. It's pretty standard against Terran, but then he's going to go Vikings, which is when I go High Templar and Psystorm the crap out of them, which means I can also get Archons. Now, with the recent patch, Archons are pretty much, I think, in my opinion, a must-have against Terran or any other race, because they're now massive, they can tank, they get an extra range, and it's just ridiculous. You can do a lot of things with Archons now. And as you can see here, getting thermal lenses is a must-have, and I'm going to be pumping out a Colossi as soon as I have the resources for it, and I'm not supply blocked. There you go. And as you can see here, he's pretty much on par with me with workers, getting an expansion, and I'm going to be pretty much macroing up from here for the rest of the game, and just simply, yeah, just out-macroing him and keeping my army safe, defending anything I can. Now, basically what I'm doing right now, I'm technically playing Protoss like a Zerg player, getting expansions, macroing up, getting upgrades, building an army smoothly and slowly as I go, and only needing what little forces I have just to survive, to defend. Need some cannons here. But as you can see, he took his third, and I am taking my third. My third's almost up, and his is pretty much done right now. I could be transferring workers over there. As you can see here, he still has a really dangerous army against Protoss. If there are no sentries in this game, this army would dominate Protoss. And as you can see, Colossi coming out, he scanned me. Thermal Lance is pretty much done. My upgrades are coming in. I'm dropping another overbay to deal with more mech, if he gets any mech, or to get another extra Colossi. And it's just playing the macro game from here on. If you're a Protoss player and you don't like going for super aggressive pushes, why am I not saturating it? There you go. You're gonna want, and you like playing a macro game. I think right now Protoss is, I'd say, the funnest and the easiest way to learn macro, because I mean, force fields are, in my opinion, the greatest spell in this game. Or that's fungal growth from Zerg. But I mean, if you want to learn macro, or start off learning macro, I'd say Protoss is your best bet. Zerg is a bit too hard, and as you can see here, here's another engagement. Here he has 22 Marauders, 3 tanks, 29 Marines. This is absolutely dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. They have level 1 upgrades too on the on the ground units. As you can see here, I have 1 Colossi, a few Sentries, and 1 Colossi, a few Sentries, Stalkers, and a family of Zealots. And I'm basically still ahead of him in work account, so I'm getting that extra income. So here we go. Playing out with this push. Playing out with this push, he's going to be coming through here, trying to snipe my Colossi, because that's what's going to kill him. If he doesn't kill my Colossi, this army is going to go down. And this is what I suggest you Protoss players do, going against a Marine Marauder tank ball that should wipe out your base. And here he is spreading out his tanks, which is what he should do. As you can see, you should wait for him to come to you. If you're playing defensive, wait for him to come to you and get in position so that you can easily charge out amongst him. Not charge out, but as you can see, here's armies right here. Stop. If you engage like this, you are going to die. Those tanks will rain absolute hell on your army, even if you have Guardian Shield, and they're probably going to snipe your Colossi, and you're going to be in a bad spot. But force fields will come to play, and you might not die. You might. It just depends on how well your micro is. As you can see here, I force field his army from not pushing, and he pushes out, moving up his tank line. And this is what you Protoss players should do going against a siege like this. Move in your Immortals first, because they have that hardened shield, and they can tank these they can tank the siege fire for you while you move in. Because imagine this, the fire rate of a siege tank is like, it's pretty slow. When sieged up, it's like douche, and then like waits 2 seconds, and then douche, and then waits 2 seconds. That gives you enough time to charge in with your army and snipe those siege tanks down when their cooldown for their fire is going off. So let's keep in mind here that the Immortals are, I think, a good shield against them. They can also take out the Marauders, but the Colossi mixed up with Zealots and Sentries and Stalkers is a pretty good mix. So setting the Immortals in first, taking that first initial tank shot, and then charging in with your entire army, force fielding his units back to keep him from coming in, and just mowing straight through this push. It's pretty much a win-win. It's pretty much a win situation for me, knowing that my opponent, I took out his main 3 power units that would take down my army, and he just pushing back because he knows that army is too much for him. It's basically playing as Protoss for a macro heavy game. Only attack the attacking army and then pull back as soon as that's done. And as you can see here, still macroing up my workers. Macro your workers. Probes and pylons, as Day 9 says. So just probes. 51 probes over 41 SCVs. I have my third fully saturated. He has his partially saturated, because he's been focusing on his army to take out my expansion, and he doesn't know about my third. So basically from here on, it's just still macroing up. And let's speed it up a bit here. Just keep on macroing up, putting in your stuff, putting in your forces. Maybe a little break from here from him because he wanted to macro up too and total up a bit, and he has these unsieged tanks. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But as you can see, getting his level 3 upgrades. He has level 3 upgrades and level 2 on his shields. Getting a starport for Vikings because he has Colossi, and I take my 4th, and it's my gold one. Now, with that being said, right here, I drop my 3 additional gateways, a Twilight Council, just so I can get High Templar. Now, when you're getting High Templar, I think you should only get High Templar against a Terran opponent when you're going against a massive bio ball like this and Vikings, because Vikings will snipe your Colossi down like a knife through moist butter. It's pretty much that. Vikings are the direct counter to Colossi because they can't do shit. Now, going back to this, I didn't saturate this expansion just yet. I was focusing on getting units and just macroing up a little bit on something else. Don't do this like me. Get probes here. Get that thing saturated as soon as you can. I'm at 200 food. Now this is where things get fun. In this engagement right here, his units are completely clumped up. My High Templar are in the midst of dropping their Psi Storms. My Stalkers are getting in for the kill. Colossi are in the back to protect with their Thermal Lance. Roast any units that get up close right here. Those Vikings are going to be a huge threat to my Colossi. Now, with this fight, let's play it at normal speed, normal game speed. I go in here, I Psi Storm the crap out of his army, pull back my Colossi because I know they're going to die. Well, I didn't pull him back, but he pulled back. But I know that I pulled him back. There you go. I'm just pushing him with my guys, pushing in, and they can't do much. I just push them back enough so that I can pull my units back to a safe position, keep my gold safe, and keep my expansion safe. And I'm just macroing up units as I go, and I should be warping in a few. There you go. There goes the Stalkers coming in. And here you go. This is where things get fun. When you're High Templar or low on energy, you can make Archons. And Archons can tank for you, and they are just horrendously dangerous towards a Protoss, or excuse me, a Terran bio ball, especially when Marauders have concussive shell, so the Zealots can't get up close in them. And basically with concussive shell, that doesn't work against massive, so Archons are a very good unit to have when tanking a Terran bio ball. Now, pulling back to get these units in, waiting for these Immortals to come out, I'm pretty much gonna push straight into his gold and just demolish his forces right here in this square. And as you can see here, still having an upper hand in my economy, macroing up more. I have a higher end economy than he does. I just have more in production. Excuse me. I guess I don't have more in production than he does. But as you can see here in this engagement, just mowing through everything he has. Charge lots moving in. We get that upgrade. And then just Archons are doing massive damage to the workers in the command center. And just the typical Protoss death ball right here, demolishing the Terran bio ball. Now, when it comes to this, he pretty much doesn't have anything he can do. I mean, sure, he has a few Vikings, like 2 medevacs, a Marine, and a Planetary Fortress, and a fully saturated 3rd. I have a 4th, soon to be getting my 5th, a dangerous army with sentries to help back up my front, and it's pretty much a win for me. This one push right here that took out his gold was the one that killed him. Because even though I pulled back because I did not scout a bit more, I do not know where my observer is. I believe it died. I could have pushed in there and won the game. Oh, there's my observer. I could have pushed in there and won the game, but unfortunately I pulled back because I thought that he was still macroing up like any other Terran player, but I guess he slipped up. Now, I should be getting my 5th pretty soon, but I mean, this is pretty much a video. This is pretty much it. How to defend and how to play a Protoss macro game. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people play the Protoss macro game a little differently and more aggressively or more defensively. I'm not sure. But as you can see here, I'm on 4 bases. He's on 3. He doesn't have an army. I mean, sure, he has an army here, but that's not going to do anything against that. A Protoss Death Ball coupled with Archons and more High Templar. As you can see here, he's still at a 47 SCV count. I'm at a 66 SCV count with a way bigger army. Way, way bigger. Plus I have my upgrades, my level 2, my level 1 upgrades, or excuse me, all my level 1 upgrades. Well, not all of them, but he has what, level 3 on everything? And he still couldn't get through that army. He still couldn't. Because it's just, the Protoss Death Ball is just ridiculously strong. And when you can get that Death Ball from getting off 3, 4, or getting off with a fast expansion and getting that Death Ball, you're going to be in a very good position to just dominate your Terran opponent. But it's I mean, that's pretty much it. But I mean, if you don't get any sentries early on in the game, that's not going to get any further than, you know, than what you saw earlier. That one initial push, that first one, if I didn't have any sentries, I would have been done with that push. So anyway, keep up the games with your StarCraft. Don't get let down if you lose. Everyone loses. I've been losing a lot because I've been learning how to play Zerg. But I mean, just keep things going here and keep things under perspective for you guys. Just keep macroing up, keep practicing StarCraft. You'll get it eventually. There you go. I got my 5th just right now. But I mean, when you play as Protoss, I'd say it's safer to go for a macro game because you can go for the late game and absolutely dominate your opponent. But as you can see here, he's just gonna lose everything he has here. This planetary fortress isn't gonna do anything. As you can see, he moves up with his army. I Psystorm it, pull him back. I go over here. I Psystorm it to hell on this bridge, and he just can't do anything about it. He had ghosts, but unfortunately, it's too much for him. I would have just pushed in here and destroyed his entire economy, all his production buildings, and everything. It would have been... It's a one-sided game from here on if you can get out a fast expansion and defend it properly. Well, anyway, this has been Fuzzy Snugs from Blox Rage Gaming. I will see you guys later. Still working on school. Can't pump out as much as I used to. So yeah, bye.